Hello, my name is Jonathan Manahan, and I would like to discuss with you how video game storytelling has become more finessed over the years. Some of the earliest games, such as Space Invaders and Jumpman, had a simple call to action when it came to story, such as for the former where you had to save the world from invading aliens, and for the latter, having to save the princess from an oversized ape. These were some of the most earliest attempts at making decent stories out of video games. The game Zork, however, had a very unique structure when it came to storytelling, as it encouraged the player to explore the game world in a non-linear fashion. The quality of video game storytelling would evolve as technology did during the 1990s. Games in the 90s dealt with more mature subjects, as well as implementing new ideas into their games. For example, Half-Life by Valve made use of scripted sequences, which were mini-game events that helped the player feel involved in the world around them. Today, storytelling in gaming has mostly been compared to mediums such as films and TV shows. However, when it comes to being a writer for a video game, it's important how to carefully implement these story elements while also making a good game. An example of implementation is having to know the limitations to a game's story. One of the well-known limitations when it comes to stories in games are cutscenes. Cutscenes are scripted events in a game to entice the player into being more involved with the story. Cutscenes have both the ability to connect and disconnect the player from the story itself. Video games today make more use of cutscenes as they have grown to be very popular among game design. Many filmmakers such as Steven Spielberg have criticized the use of cutscenes in gaming. Spielberg has gone to say that you watch and you get kind of involved with what the story is, and you hate the bad guy because he murders people in an airport and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden it's time to take the controller. What Spielberg is saying is that you can connect the player to the story. What happens next when it comes to gameplay, that's where he states, is where the player is somewhat disconnected. This calls into play of how it's important to have gameplay and your story flow well together. Other limitations include lack of pacing. Pacing in a game story is far more stretched out as it is being played. Video games do not have the 100% luxury of having certain scenes cut out like a film or a TV show, since mainly the game has you, the player, playing the game in an uncut fashion. Video games can hold players for as long as even hours. Film audiences, that will be somewhat unnecessary. A closer look should be made on what makes said storytelling and good gameplay blend together. Modern video games today have stories that are more grounded and personal towards the main protagonist, or to that of the game itself. Some of the most popular modern games involve non-linear storylines as well as decision-based storylines. For example, The Witcher 3 by CD Projekt Red is an open-world RPG where it is well known for having a well-written main quest line as well as a well-written side quest line. As far as decision-based games go, the games made by Quantic Dream are heavily known to implement decision-based storylines. For example, the game Beyond Two Souls uses multiple endings that revolve around the main choices made during the story. In fact, the game was rumored to have as many as 24 different endings during its development cycle. In more recent events, the upcoming God of War by Santa Monica Studios deals with more personal conflicts within the characters rather than its predecessors that mostly made use of hack-and-slash gameplay while also telling the story of a sympathetic protagonist. In conclusion, storytelling in video games has achieved new heights within the realm of storytelling itself. I heavily recommend that you work cooperatively amongst each other so that the games you assist in creating will prove to be successful.